What's up, everyone? How y'all doing? Welcome to Friday Night Chill with Will. If you're new here, hi, my name is Will. So this is a new live stream podcast, whatever you want to call it. Going to be doing this every Friday night. We're going to be talking about basically whatever I want. So if you're familiar with me, I'm a big tokusatsu fan, Power Ranger fan, that type of stuff. So we'll be talking about that stuff, but we're also going to be talking about just generally whatever is interesting to me that week. Might be other nerd properties, might be different stuff going on in the world. Might get a little more serious at times, but I just kind of want to use this as a space to just kind of talk through some stuff. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. So tonight for this first episode, we're going to be talking about the new Shin Kamen Rider movie. I did bring a guest to join me in talking about this. You probably know him as Midwest Tokusatsu over on Instagram and Twitter. Everyone, welcome Noah to the show. Hey, Noah, what's
Will, how's it going, man?
up? All right, well, what's up, man? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Actually, just got I saw Across the Spider-Verse yesterday, so 2 days in a row going to the theater. So it's been kind of a
It's
packed
a
week.
it's a very good week for bug-themed superheroes, I'll tell you that. So, all right, cool. So, obviously, Shin Kamen Rider, that was on Wednesday. That was a little bit before all the Spider-Man stuff. So just, I guess, initial, like, just overall thoughts, just kind of the night, of the event. How was it for you?
Overall, it was a fantastic experience. It's like I got to see it with a couple of friends. Plus, like even though like the actual theater was kind of small, I think like the seats were at least filled, if that makes sense. So the
Right.
fans definitely turned out.
That's good. That is very good. Yeah, our theater was smaller. The theater we were in was a little bit older, but
Yeah.
a nice, decent crowd. And I was telling Noah before the show that we were kind of. Obviously, we're kind of lucky because there were, at least here in Southern California, because the selection of theaters was a lot more than most other places. Because there was a theater, I was at a Regal watching it, and then right across on the other side of the parking lot, it was in a mall. On the other side of the parking lot, attached to the mall, was an AMC. So I'm imagining there were more people at the AMC because that's also a newer theater. So all that type of stuff. And AMC does have reclining seats, which is a big plus when you're trying to get comfortable watching a movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good turnout, and it's always cool seeing people show out for Toku stuff. Obviously, there's very few events that we can think of that even do that. The only thing
And we had
similar to this was like Shin Ultraman a few months
Shin
ago.
Ultraman.
Yeah, I
Like
can't even remember.
I think that
Was
was
that
actually a bit bigger. Like the theater for that one was a bit bigger.
okay? Yeah, I actually watched Shin Ultraman in the same theater I watched Shin
Wow.
Kamen Rider. Yeah, so it's like the Toku room basically at this point. Um, but that was like at the beginning of the year, right?
Yeah, that was like mid-January.
Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember if it was like the end of last year or the beginning of this year.
Yeah, that was like
Uh,
January.
yeah, um, but yeah, so I guess we'll just kind of go into like thoughts of the movie. Well, you are my guest, so I'll let you go first. So just just kind of your overall thoughts. What did you think of Shin Kamen Rider?
I really enjoyed the movie. Like it seemed like it was like a nice blend of like stuff from both the TV show and the manga, which I actually do have with me right here.
Oh,
So there
nice.
were a couple of concepts taken from here, like the bits where like those scars would form on their face when they transformed. That was taken
Hmm.
from here.
Okay.
Also, I'm not sure if this was intentional. If this was intentional, but I'm not sure if we can talk spoilers. Is that all right?
Yeah. I don't say. I mean, it's one day. I mean, the next chance people have to watch it is on Monday, so I'm hoping that if they're watching this, they'd have already seen it, or they don't care about spoilers. So that's kind of how I'm approaching it. So this will be a spoiler review of the movie. So sorry
Okay.
if spoiler free. So go ahead and spoil away.
Like towards the end when Hongo dies and like they upload his brain into like into the helmet. That was also
Right.
kind of reminiscent of like what happens in the middle of the manga where the Shocker Riders actually shoot him down when he's untransformed and they put his brain in like this tube until they heal his body and he comes back towards the end of the book.
Okay. Yeah, see, like there were my knowledge of Ichigo and Nigo is like very base, like
Yeah.
super base.
Uh,
Like I just know the bare bones of even just the TV show. And I tried watching like the first like 15 episodes of
mhm.
the original series beforehand, so that way I could just kind of like have a grasp on stuff. I ended up watching like the first like 3 or 4. So it's at least the baseline stuff, but
Yeah.
I definitely forgot to consider the manga when watching the movie. I was like, oh yeah, there's a whole bunch of it that they can reference in this. Um, but yeah, I was still able to pick up on stuff here and there. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it overall as well. I do have. It's interesting because like obviously the closest comparison for this movie I have is Shin Ultraman, because it's that it's kind of two movies trying to do the same type of thing.
Hmm.
Um, and I do feel like, and it's weird me saying this because I don't really mess with Ultraman that much, but I feel like Shin Ultraman accomplished what it wanted to do better than Shin Kamen Rider did. But I still think Shin Kamen Rider is like a good like love letter for fans of Kamen Rider. I still think like there's plenty for like Rider fans to enjoy, but I felt like with Shin Ultraman, like there was just it seemed like it was more willing to welcome in first time viewers because I don't know very much. I've seen like I think Ultraman Z. I watched the first like few episodes of that when they were doing the weekly
Yeah.
streams on YouTube or whatever whenever they were doing that. But yeah, man. I felt like Ultraman just kind of like it seemed like they were more willing to just be like, oh yeah, this movie is just kind of trying to be someone's first like Toku hero movie, if that makes any sense. And Kamen Rider, for me, Shin Kamen Rider, it seemed like I don't know. I feel like it just kind of like threw you into it because like the because before Shin Ultraman, there was like this whole little blurb, and they like did a little like interview with like I can't remember who it was. I think it was the director, and then like somebody who worked for Subaraya Productions, and they just kind of like it was this nice little like history of Ultraman, and then like with Kamen Rider is like we got in the theater the previous played, and then all of a sudden it's like the Toei logo and bike chase, and it's just like right into it. Um, so, yeah, like I enjoyed it, but I will say I probably enjoyed Shin Ultraman more overall. But
I think I kind of felt the opposite way because Shin Ultraman, while like that was also really good, but
mm,
they bounced around from like plot to plot trying to like recreate the show. And with Shin Kamen Rider, I think it told like a more linear story.
yeah, I definitely get that. It definitely like bounced around a lot more in Shin Ultraman. Um, especially when it came to like the origins. I felt like they really bounced around a lot on that and like getting to that reveal. Whereas here it's just like Hongo's already Kamen Rider, in like the first like minute. Um, but yeah, there were a couple things I was like surprised by, like I'm not big on like hyper violence
Mm-hmm.
and like gore. It's just kind of not my cup of tea. Uh, I but it's weird because like it depends on what it is, I guess. So
Yeah.
like if it's like decapitation or whatever, it's like yeah, that's fine. But like when Hongo's like legs get broken and
Oh yeah, they went there.
fucking
They went
and
there.
Nigo's arms got fucking broken, I was
Yeah.
like, no, no. Like Colin was right next to me. I was like in my seat, just like recoiling because I'm like, ah,
Yeah.
God, I hate that. I hate that. So like,
Why?
yeah. And then I apparently like him getting his legs broken was a reference.
Yeah, it was a reference to what happened to the actor back in the day, where
Yeah,
like
I found
12
that out
episodes.
after.
Yeah.
I found that out afterwards. I'm just like, that is a deep of like the deepest of deep cuts.
Yeah. I
So
was surprised they actually went there. So
yeah, like, and I think the only thing that made it like tolerable for me, like that stopped me from just like totally gagging, was that
uh
they weren't like screaming in agony or anything. Because like,
yeah.
because if that were to happen, I would have just been like, oh God, no, 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 I
Just
can't
like
watch
Kyle
this.
said, cyborgs don't feel pain. I do.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, now, are there any issues that you like had with the movie or anything that like you didn't really care for that they did?
I'd have to see it again to like really like nitpick something, but like I wasn't
Mhm.
too fond of how they just like kind of killed off Hongo towards the end, like left him dead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't really get that, and like I think generally, I think it was kind of ambitious to put both him and Nigo in this movie.
Hmm.
I didn't think you needed both because as it was, I already like didn't really feel that interested in what Hongo had going on. Um, but and this is like me because like this actor's portrayal of Hongo, he just seems more like deadpan
Hmm.
and just kind of like I don't know. He seems like he emotes less, and so yeah, like I couldn't even really develop that much of an attachment to him. Really, I will say though, Nigo's actor, I can't remember anybody's names. I'm sorry. I'm going by their writer name if I can if I can remember.
Yeah, that's fine.
But Nigo's actor, however, he had a lot of charisma, and so
He did.
I did. Well, I didn't think he needed to be there. I did enjoy him being there because he did provide like a sense of like attachment. So and I guess it worked out fine because he ends up being, he ends up being the main protagonist anyway. Um, but it is still kind of weird that they went as far as to introduce both of them in this movie. I really didn't think they needed to do all that. I really felt like they could have told a solid story with just, you know, the the story of Hongo because he is, he's the first Kamen Rider, and I feel like, especially because like just how far along, like you follow him for most of the movie. It's
Hmm.
not like Nigo shows up in the second or third scene. um he shows up like pretty close to the end, and so it's like at this point it's like, well, why are we doing all that? It just seems kind of weird to do that. um yeah, it seemed like it was like a checklist. Sometimes
Yeah.
when like they kill off characters in movies, Toku movies in particular, I feel like they do it because they have like it's like a checklist. It's like something they want to get done, and so they care more about doing the thing rather than how they got to doing the thing. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, like I think the whole thing with like I will say that Nigo probably should have been introduced a little earlier, and like the whole thing where his like character was like really charismatic. Like I think that was done on purpose because like he came in pretty early on in the show, like right after Hiroshi Fujioka broke his legs, like 12
Right.
episodes in.
Mm-hmm.
So like Ichigo wasn't just like Ichigo for like that long. So I
Right.
think the movie definitely could have like brought him in a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And as for Nigo, so like the show at first, like when Hongo was on, had more like a horror esque body horror type of feel to it. And then when they
Mm-hmm.
brought Nigo on, like the show became a little more like lighthearted and like bombastic and fun. So I
Right.
think that's what they're kind of like trying to invoke with this Nigo.
Hmm. Yeah, and I could kind of see that. It's definitely like they want two halves like playing off of each other.
Yeah,
I kind of understood. I understood the dynamic they were trying to set up, but it just didn't seem like they had enough time to do it because they were kind of focusing on a bunch of other stuff. Um, Now I will say we haven't really talked about like the villains or anything. All the shocker stuff. So all the Augs or whatever, these were all pretty cool looking. I liked a
cool.
lot of them. Um, that little tri hybrid thing, that thing was pretty cool. It was like a
Yeah,
chameleon,
the chameleon. Yeah, the
chameleon mantis person guy.
yeah, yeah. That was him.
Yeah. Um, Scorpion got like the short end of the stick. Like the humans, like they didn't even bother having Hongo Hongo deal with her. They're just like, yeah, the humans just shot her
Yeah,
off
yeah,
screen.
Scorpion was a guy in the original series, so
Yeah, yeah. Which one was probably your favorite out of all the Augs?
favorite was probably it's probably a toss up between Kumo the Spider one and also the Wasp Bee Woman.
Okay, yeah, uh, yeah. The wasp woman. She was, yeah. She's probably the one I like got into the most.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like she had that whole backstory with the female sidekick. I forget what her name is.
yeah, it's the professor's daughter.
Yeah, Omidori
I
Kawa.
cannot.
Yeah,
There we go. What were your thoughts on her? Because I wasn't too hot on her. I feel like she was like kind of dull, and then they kind of just like started giving her emotions like right before she died.
yeah, I feel kind of about the same, but I do kind of like the resolution they gave her towards the end, where she wanted to redeem her brother, and like it gave her something, you know.
Right. I just thought it was definitely weird because then again it's kind of like what I was mentioning with the whole Ichigo Nigo dynamic. It's just like kind of weird pacing. I feel like they were trying to do. I don't know, man. I don't know how they could have fixed it. Usually, I can think of like ways they could have made it feel less weird, but for whatever reason, I can't really think of anything on like how they could like make that less weird. I don't know. Um, yeah. Uh, I am blanking out. Is the wasp now? What was the backstory with the wasp? Were they like friends in
Yeah, they were
Shocker
like
before?
childhood friends, and eventually, like Midori Kawa, she broke away and just kind of like left her for
Okay.
dead, whatever. Yeah,
Okay, that was the thing. Okay, I was trying to figure out because I will fully admit, there was a portion of this movie where I like dozed off for like 15 seconds. I don't think it was. It was just probably like I was tired and like I was tired of reading,
yeah,
and so like I missed like a line. It was literally seconds I fell asleep, but I mean, if you're watching Toku and you like miss a line or two, sometimes that can just be detrimental to the whole
yeah. I
fucking thing.
constantly rewind trying to watch shows, so
Yeah, yeah. So I was just like, yeah, let me double check and make sure because I that's probably the bit I missed because I know I
yeah.
missed something, but that makes a little bit more sense now. Um, yeah, um, I kind of hope it gets a sequel because
I
I would
think
like to see where
yeah,
they go next. I don't
I
know
think Yano
about
mentioned
any
he
of the
wanted
Shin
to.
movies.
I think Hideki Yano mentioned like he was interested in doing a sequel for Shin Kamen Rider.
Hmm. Yeah, because I don't know because they're doing it for Ultraman, Kamen Rider. They did it for Godzilla, and are they doing it for Evangelion?
Evangelion, I think, just had like a couple of movies, like stretching from like 2007 to like 2021. It's like it's
Uh-huh.
somewhere in the time frame. It was like four movies that they did.
Okay. Um, yeah. So yeah, if any, I it's weird. I feel like I wasn't too hot on it, like I said, but I still enjoyed it for what it was. I enjoyed the way things were shot. Like I love the cinematography in this movie. It was done really well, and it's crazy because like you think of like a lot of the locations they were using in this movie are pretty similar to what they use normally, except for the amphitheater that the Bat Og got. That was
Yeah,
a nice different one than the Toei one they always use. Uh, but yeah, like a lot of the way things were shot in this movie, fight choreography was really good, and the way they mixed in CGI with it. Um, like when Ichigo and Nigo have their first fight and they start like hopping through the air and they start
yeah,
doing their whole
that
thing.
was
I
awesome.
was worried that was gonna get kind of like, I don't know, like kind of goofy looking, but it actually looked really cool the entire time. And they managed to make it because they could have just made it like a bunch of like flashing, so you can't really tell what the hell they're
Yeah,
doing while they're fighting. But they did a really good job of like showing you what exactly is happening in the fight while incorporating CGI and like doing all this cool camera work at the same time. I thought they did a really good job with that. I That's one thing I will definitely praise about this movie. It looked really good.
yeah. It kind of reminded me of a DBZ, the fight between Ichigo and Niwa, like the mid-air, like just punch out fights.
Right. Yeah, that's
Yes.
kind of that's kind of the vibe it was getting. It was getting very anime, which
Yeah.
um which is cool cuz like obviously we've seen people try anime style fights in live action to varying degrees of success. And this one I think looked really solid overall. Um
And I will say that some of the CGI did look a bit weird, but I feel like that was kind of like intentional for it to be stylized.
yeah, it was yeah, cuz they definitely wanted to like incorporate some like older filming methods or styles
Yeah,
to the the movie. Obviously, we had like when the foot soldiers show up for the first time, and it's just like a bunch of hard cuts of them just like going around Ichigo and stuff. So I felt like it did blend a lot of it decently well. There were some bits that were just kind of iffy, but I mean that's every movie now. I feel. Um, but I will say, um, I think because they don't. The thing I like about these movies, the the Shin Ultraman and Shin Kamen Rider movies, is they are using CGI, but they still, at their core, realize that they're still a tokusatsu production and that they don't need to rely completely on that. And they
yeah,
do actually want to take the time to implement real world set design and stuff like that into the show. And I think that makes all the difference for me because like if you just have like a bunch of like really dark CGI buildings getting blown up or whatever, it just kind of looks it just kind of looks not very good. Um but if you have like some stuff that has some dimension to it and like looks, I mean, obviously, it looks like it doesn't look real, but it looks physically real,
yeah,
and I feel like that can really um, allow you to immerse yourself more in the movie. I don't know. That's just something I noticed um, when I watch these movies compared to like other superhero movies, because especially now, like, I mean, even Sentai and Rider are starting to do this. They're just building whole sets out of CGI, and they aren't really trying to do a whole lot of practical sets anymore. And you do lose a bit of immersion, oddly enough, when you do stuff like that. Um, but yeah, man, that it was a good movie. It was a good movie.
definitely was.
I'd probably give it like a solid 8. Just like overall, and this is like comparing it to like other like this is just compare it like I'm trying to approach it from like a normal, like everyday type of movie.
Objectively, right?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
still like it because it's Toku, you know. So I feel like Toku fans are gonna rock with this no matter what.
yeah,
I feel like anyone who's ever watched Kamen Rider or anything like that, I think you're gonna rock with this movie. I think it's really fun. Um, Now, as far as like being a first go at a writer thing, I don't know if I could say it's good to for an intro to writer. But then again, maybe it could vary by the person. Because I did read like a tweet. I can't remember who posted it. I think Jacob retweeted it.
I might have read that
Uh,
one. Yeah,
yeah, whereas like this girl was like, she was like talking, she was like kind of like laughing at it
like
throughout the
the guy's gate,
movie.
right? Yeah,
Yeah, and then like at the end, she like saw the final helmet that Nigo had, and she was like, "Oh, that's beautiful." And I was just like, "Oh." So I think that kind of like depends. That type of reaction just kind of depends on the person, because and their attitude towards, you know, consuming tokusatsu or even watching it. You know, because that can vary by person. We've all had that experience where someone is just like looking at it and just kind of like laughing at it the whole time.
yeah.
Um,
I deal with that all the time. Like, actually, I'll tell you. Like, sometimes when I was still like going to college, well, in the gaming lounge, sometimes I would just like sit there and watch Toku, and some people would come in and be like, "Hey, is this Power Rangers?" And I'm like, "What the hell is Power Rangers?"
It's a ripoff of the American
Yeah,
Powerful Rangers, okay?
like it's my way of like, like disassociating the two without being an asshole, you know?
Yeah. It's funny. Um, but yeah, man. Anything else stand out to you in the movie? Anything else you caught that was kind of cool?
Actually, yeah. When they had the helmets on,
Mhm.
they actually sounded muffled. Like it would actually sound if you had a helmet on.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's true. They do that. I like
Yeah,
that small attention to detail.
like they would actually sound like this.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Thank you for doing that. That's the thumbnail. I'm just
yeah,
kidding. um uh yeah, that little details like that are really cool. Nice little attentions to detail like that. Um the music was pretty good too. I will say. There were like some throwbacks in there, but I feel like they modernized them a little bit, so they were like familiar, but they sounded new. So I thought that was kind of cool. Nice little blend of the two. Um, we did leave. There wasn't like a post credit scene, right?
no, they were just showing clips from the old show, and they were playing the theme song.
Okay, that's what I thought. Because
Yeah,
like right when I was walking out of the theater, the theme song started playing. I was
yeah,
like, wait a minute, hold on. And then I looked and like the credits were still rolling. I'm like, all right, we're good. All right, let's go. I thought I
we
was
were
gonna
actually
miss it.
singing along. So
Oh, okay. Oh, see, that's precious. I love that. Yeah, the dude I met at the theater, he was like doing like little reactions, like just little tiny ones, like when the Toei logo appeared, he was like, "Let's go," just little things like that,
yeah,
and like it wasn't like obnoxious.
no,
Obviously, like I wouldn't want everyone to be like super dead quiet during the
yeah,
movie, because like I feel like that's kind of the point of you going out to the theaters, is just kind of like
yeah, like
experiencing
you
it
want
with
the
other people.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah. And so, and obviously that can, there's a line, like obviously you want to be respectful because you don't want to just be
yeah,
yelling at the screen the whole movie. But I mean, like it's it's cool seeing people get excited about this thing, especially for something like a Kamen Rider movie airing in America for the first time, which is still weird to say. That's weird it's
yeah.
weird. Like I felt like there's that, I don't know, like it happened, and then it
Mhm.
was just like, that's crazy. That happened. I never thought I never thought I would see the day.
Yeah,
Like,
because like
you know? And
I've
so,
been
like,
watching
'cause
Goku since I was like 11, and like kid me like would have never dreamed of this, like seeing an actual Kamen Rider movie on the big screen. So yeah,
right. Like, yeah, like, I mean, yeah, because I was, like, probably 15, 16 when I watched the Rider series for the first time. And, yeah, man, when I was, like, thinking about all that stuff, I was like, "Man, I don't I mean, I don't think this will ever be, like, on a movie." Like, it didn't even, like, cross my mind. I was like, "It'd be cool if this even got on TV," but probably won't. And then, like, a few years later, we started getting, like, music and stuff, because,
mhm,
like, streaming started becoming more popular. Um, and I thought that was a big get. Once we started getting, like, Writer's music library and stuff, like, on streaming services and stuff, I was like, "Damn, what? This is crazy. What a great time, to be a Writer fan, honestly." I feel like things are so much more accessible now in varying depending on what it is. The show is still not as accessible as it could be.
yeah,
They have a lot of work to do with that, but there's a the barrier to entry is significantly lower than it used to be.
yeah. I was like my entry was Dragon Knight, and like not even that has any like physical release anywhere.
Yeah, which is insane because like it did so well in all these other countries. You would have thought somehow an English disc release would have snuck out somewhere. we Yeah, I have it all on my computer at least, so I can still watch it whenever I want because Steven Lunsford approved it. He was like,
Yeah,
"Hey,
even he said so. It's like, yeah,
yeah," he was like, "Well, until they get a DVD, here's." He like
yeah,
shared the link too. I think he's
yeah,
like,
might as
until
well.
they, yeah, until they release a Blu-ray, here's the entire show in HD, so you can watch it whenever you want. And I was like, cool, it works with me. um, yeah, man. Now, when we get in Shin Super Sentai, that's the question. Shin Go
That's what
Ranger,
everyone's saying. Yeah, Shin Go
right?
Ranger. I mean, what? Like, was it like 2013? We got the Gotcha Man movie.
Was it
Yeah, I
really
guess that's.
2013? Was the Gotcha
I
Man
think so.
movie?
I think so.
I thought it was more recent. Okay, wow. Shit, shows you how much I
Yeah.
know.
Almost 50.
Wasn't Shinken Red's actor in that?
Yeah, he was Ken the Eagle.
Okay, that's what I thought. I because I remember seeing his face on some of the stuff. I was like, oh,
Speaking of Shinken Red's actor, you know the robot K in Shin Kamen Rider?
yes.
That was him.
No way.
Yeah, that was him. I looked it up.
Oh, that's cool.
The thing about K is that he was a character from a whole other like obscure toku series from the 70s, Robot KGK, which like I don't know like why they would just throw a random guy in there, but whatever.
Yeah, okay. Cause I saw him and I was like, I have never heard of this character before. Like I've seen like a bit of Shocker and stuff, but I have never seen this robot here.
Yeah, he's not that well known, but
Yeah. Now, was the prana, was that a concept from the manga and the
no,
show?
it wasn't. Yeah, that
Or
was a completely new
that was a
thing.
that was a new thing. Okay, I
Yeah,
thought so. I was trying to clock what was a new thing and then what was probably from the manga and what was in the show.
yeah.
It was hard trying to distinguish all of that stuff. Cool,
But one
man.
thing is that the Prana thing, like, it did kind of help, like, make his powers make sense because, like, from a practical standpoint, I've always wondered, like, how Ichigo's powers work exactly being a cyborg. Like, where's the costume? Like, how does the costume, like, materialize? How does his
Mhm.
kick make, shit explode and
Right.
that kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair because like at a surface level, the original origins don't really
Yeah.
provide a lot of context for how any of that works. So I do appreciate them trying to like flesh that out a little bit more. And in a way, it does because one thing I did notice is like with Hongo's original like personality that the narrator always kind of described him as like being this distraught, tormented soul who's like, walking alone as the Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, Hongo always seemed a little bit more lighthearted than that. Whereas with this, his like power comes from people. Like he like actually takes their kind of like life energy in a way. And so that does make it just feel more, it feels more appropriate when describing like why he feels the way he does. So
Yeah, I'd say so. It's like he
yeah.
wasn't like is like upbeat or cheery or is like suave. Like he was actually kind of like broken in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. um but yeah, man, I can't really think of anything else. That was just cool. That was
Um,
cool that happened. I'm debating if I want to see it again on Thursday and like sneak out of work early again. But
I probably couldn't. I couldn't make it to the theater in time.
yeah, yeah. Luckily for me, the theater was like 5 minutes away. But then again, I don't even know if my theater got the second showing. I don't know if they would put it in the Toka room again or not.
Yeah, like my theater, I checked. I don't think they're showing it a second time, but there is one that I've been to before that is showing
Mhm.
it. So, but it's like 40, not 40, like less than half an hour away.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully, either Tokushatsu or Shout Factory does something with that
I hope so.
for a physical media release.
I mean, if Shin
That would be.
Ultraman can get a Blu-ray, so I mean, this is probably no
Well, I
different.
mean, we know Superaya's got that Blu-ray market. Like,
Yeah,
they got it on lock. That we don't got to worry about Superaya putting out Ultraman Blu-rays. We got to worry about Ryder doing that.
yeah. Oh,
um,
he's so damn stingy.
yeah, man. I don't I don't get it. It's I don't know. Like I was mentioning earlier, like with that whole thing with Ultraman having that little like precursor to the movie. Like I
Hmm.
felt like that was just like so indicative of like kind of like the two different mindsets that each company has with like introducing their hero to people outside of Japan, where like you can just kind of like tell Superaya is more like, yeah, this is Ultraman. He's kind of wacky, he's kind of goofy, but he's cool. We really like him, and maybe you guys will like him too. Whereas like Toei was like Kamen Rider.
Yeah,
It's like this is Kamen Rider, and like that's it. So I don't know. It would have just been kind of cool just to see like a little something, something. But whatever. Maybe they can do it for a sequel, and then maybe the sequel can come over here for like more than a day,
more than a day.
more than a day for one showing.
Yeah, that would be nice,
Even if
wouldn't
it
it?
was like a full day, I feel like if we got like a full theater day and
Hmm.
like not like just like
Like
a
one time
random
slot.
Wednesday,
Yeah,
yeah, and not just like a random Wednesday. I mean like put it on like a good time, like a Friday, like a good like weekend, even if it's just for a day. You just do it all day and give everyone as much of an opportunity to watch it as possible. And I feel like I don't know. I feel like they're underselling it.
they really are.
Yeah,
Like the
they're
fans bought
because
enough tickets to where they added a second showing, so I mean, they are kind of
yeah,
like,
I mean that is promising because like
yeah,
Shin Ultraman didn't even get to do that.
yeah.
So it's interesting because that's what makes it so interesting to me because it's no secret that like Ultraman's push or just Ultraman in general's push outside of Japan has been stronger, and so it's interesting that despite doing that, Ryder still has the brand power to do that with when it comes to like showings and stuff like that. um yeah, it's definitely interesting. But I mean, it's cool. Like I appreciate that. I think
Yeah.
that's super good, and it's like a good omen. I feel for like the future of what they want to do.
And hopefully
Hopefully they
send the message to Toei that like we want more
right. Yeah, and I don't know. It's I feel like we've been sending that message like
for a while.
for
Yeah.
so long. It's been 84 years and we're still sending the same message. It's like the equivalent of us sending a U up text like every like hour. I feel like. But but yeah,
That's why
man.
I've been hashtagging like the movie both in English and Japanese on my Twitter posts, like in
Yeah,
hopes that
see,
like
I
someone.
need to start doing that. I need to
Yeah.
start putting the Japanese hashtags in there. Get mixed in there a little bit, so so they're like, hey, what are all these Americans doing in the Kamen Rider hashtag? That's probably the problem. They're not even looking at Shin Kamen Rider in English. They're just looking
Yeah.
at the Japanese hashtag, and they're like, I don't see anything. They'll
Like, hey,
like
how does
see,
Black Kid get in here?
yeah, they're like scrolling, and then they see you. They scroll a little bit more. They see Sentai 5. They scroll a little bit more. They see Speed Racer Flubber. So, um, but yeah, man. But that was just so cool. That was a cool experience. I'm really happy with it. I thought it was super fun. Hopefully we can do it again sometime soon. Probably not
Yeah, fingers
in the
crossed.
next year
Oh no,
because
definitely not.
they're kind of they're kind of done for now with all
Yeah,
of
this
these
was like the
things.
last one they had planned, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is the last one they had planned for now. So um, maybe we'll get a Shin Go Ranger announcement in like September or something when the new Rider series comes out. Who knows? We'll get some kind of announcement maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. As for screening, I mean, hopefully we can get that if Hasbro doesn't try and stop anything.
Yeah, I don't think Hasbro will like care that much,
You think so?
honestly. I don't think so. If it's especially if it's like something Go Ranger related, I don't think they'll care because they're gonna be like, yeah.
Like you don't think they would call
If it was Jew Ranger, maybe. But I
yeah.
don't even it maybe. But even still, like I wouldn't even see the point in fighting it. You know, I don't know. I feel like Hasbro is like too. They have their heads too far up their own ass to care about that kind of stuff. If it's
Well,
not directly impactful to Power Rangers, they like don't care.
I mean, with the Toei Tokusatsu stuff on YouTube, they kind of blocked the stuff that was brought over here, like B Fighter and Metalder and Spillband. Like those
Oh, have
episodes, I
they?
think, were locked on their channel.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Hmm.
because of Hasbro.
Huh. Interesting. What do you got planned, Hasbro? Are we doing my dream Beetleborgs reboot? Because I am ready for that whenever. I am legitimately ready for a Beetleborgs reboot. If I ever won the lottery, that's what I would do. I'm funding a Beetleborgs reboot myself. I don't care. I'm going to Hasbro. I'm going to be like, listen, I know no one gives a shit about this, okay? But I do, okay? And the mansion is still up and it still exists. I've seen
Oh,
it.
it's still there.
It's still up. It's
Wow.
probably all graffitied up, but it's still there. So we'll paint it up a little bit, get some nice exterior shots, and then we I don't know, we're going to Canada to film. I don't know what the fuck we're doing, but I don't know. That is weird, but all right. Ray Carrera. Are the actors are even still around for Beetleborgs?
Oh,
Uh,
I know
I
like
mean,
Drew and Roland are probably, but
yeah.
Joe.
Drew's actor. He is a photographer now. Colin sent me his website um, few like a month or two ago or something. Um, Roland's actor. He's still living life. I see him on Instagram and stuff. Grayson, you need to stop. We are not casting James Corden as
Jeez.
Flabber, okay? James Corden is finally unemployed for the first time in a long time, and it kind of just needs to stay that way for a bit, okay? But yeah, I'm not too familiar with either of the Joe's actresses, so I'm not sure. I think they're just kind of chilling out, living life. Same thing with like Flabber and all those guys. They're just kind
No,
of
just
chilling.
cast Jay Leno was Flabber.
Yeah, exactly. God. And then for the VR Troopers reboot, there won't be one. Let's not do that at all. Let's not. We don't need more VR Troopers. Mystic Knights. I can get behind a Mystic Knights reboot.
What about Master Rider?
Master Rider, I honestly wouldn't be too upset by. If we just ignore everything that happened in his show and just kind of like take into account what happens with A Friend in Need, because I rewatched that recently, but before Once and Always came out, and I was like, man, Dex is so freaking cool in this freaking crossover. Like, they set him up for such a cool show, and then they didn't do anything with it.
Yeah,
they basically had the equivalent of the space Black Panther going on. That was kind of what he was. And they were just like, no, standards and practices said you have to get adopted into like this comedically diverse family.
Yeah, we need a sitcom here.
So ridiculous. Yeah, I've always wanted more Master Rider stuff just because I think there's so much potential there. I don't know if Toei would let it because they're just like, no.
Yeah.
The last time we let you touch Black RX, look what you did. We're never letting you touch it again.
Even Ishinomori hated it at the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to blame them because they probably showed them the intro first. They probably showed the backdoor pilot with Mighty Morphin, and they like saw that and they're like, oh, you guys actually have a pretty good idea here. Okay, yeah, we'll do it. And then they caught the show like 10 20 episodes in, and they're like, what the fuck is this?
What the hell did you do?
What the hell did you do? Why are there 3 different Kamen Rider shows being used here? Why? Why do you have J footage here? What's even happening? That's so silly. Anyway. Yeah, man. All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just kind of wanted to chill out tonight, talk about this movie, because everyone who's a Toku fan is talking about this movie this week. As far as next week, I don't know what I'm talking about yet. Maybe we'll talk about Across the Spider-Verse, since that is out. So I'll probably try and watch it this week. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I'm kind of winging it, if you can't tell. But yeah, man. Thank you, Noah, for joining me on the show tonight. Appreciate it for this little pilot. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We'll be back next week at the same time to do this all over again. And it might be just me. We'll see. Again, this whole thing, I'm winging it. I have got no clue what I'm doing, and that's just kind of have to be how it is for a bit. So I hope you guys are enjoying it anyway. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Grayson, Luke, Raymond, my day ones, love you all, and Billy too. I know you're here as well. I love you all. And if you're watching this afterwards with the archived stream, hi, I love you too. I just can't name you, obviously, because you're not here. So, but yeah, man, we're going to call it a night. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next week for another Friday night chill. Bye.